Welcome to Global Investment Insights, a weekly podcast brought to you by ADCB Asset Management. My name is Kishore Muktinutalapati, an equity strategist for ADCB. With an objective to empower you with investment insights, on this program we discuss various perspectives shaping the global investment landscape. In our podcast titled A Pricey Porridge, dated November 22nd, 2021, we discuss the elevated and rising food prices and their implications. Following that, food prices rose further this year. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, UNFAO, food price index rose by 18% in the first 5 months of the year in nominal terms and by 16% in real terms over the same period. Among the constituents, oil and cereal prices rose 28% and 23% respectively in nominal terms so far in 2022. Meat and dairy prices rose 10% each, while sugar prices rose by a modest 3%. It is worth noting that the UNFAO Food Price Index rose a whopping 73% in nominal terms and 67% in real terms since hitting a bottom in May 2020. There are several factors that drove food prices higher, some global, some regional, and some specific to individual commodities. The current period of higher and rising food prices can be attributed to a range of reasons, including weather patterns unfavorable to the crop produce, labor shortages, rising demand for premium grade products, global supply chain disruptions, higher energy prices, high feed costs and avian flu outbreaks, and more recently, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This sharp rise in food prices has now become a regional and global issue and, of course, also a political and geopolitical one. Governments across developed and emerging economies have started enacting measures to try to contain their domestic prices. In the developed world, these measures include attempts to boost domestic production. In the emerging world, some governments have opted to cut food taxes or put in place price controls. In addition, some governments have also imposed bans on exports of certain agricultural products. While this could relieve local price pressures, at the global level, this could cause more trade disruptions in an already tight commodities market. The immediate consequences of this elevated food prices can be twofold. First, consumption spending on discretionary items could slow as consumers spend more on their essential food items. This could reduce the overall output of the economy. In this context, emerging economies with a higher share of food consumption in their overall consumption basket look more vulnerable to these shocks than developed economies. The second impact of rising food prices is its contribution to the overall consumer price inflation. As such, the food price inflation has hit a multi-year high in developed economies and continues to be elevated in emerging economies. Any further rise in food prices could add more to the already elevated consumer prices. So, both these consequences together would mean slower growth and higher inflation, adding to the stagflationary winds that are already blowing through the world economy. Looking ahead, as some of the pandemic-related disturbances like labor shortages and global supply chain disruptions end, food prices could come under control. Weather plays a vital role too. Here, according to the Climate Prediction Center at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration of the US, the odds for La Niña decrease over the remainder of the year. Remember, this weather pattern created unfavorable conditions for agriculture over the past several months. The UNFAO Food Price Index may already be reflecting this, with the headline food price index falling sequentially for the second consecutive month in May. This recent moderation was driven by a drop in the vegetable oil and dairy price indices, while the sugar price index also fell to a lesser extent. Meanwhile, cereal and meat price indices continued to rise. In summary, growth is slowing globally and inflation is high. Further sharp rise in food prices could intensify the stagflationary winds already blowing through the global economy. Equally, a fall in food prices or even stable food prices could help take some price pressures off the consumer. But the outlook remains uncertain given a range of factors driving the food prices. More importantly, with elevated and rising food prices becoming a political and geopolitical issue. Thanks for listening. We hope you found this podcast useful. If you did, please do share this and other episodes with family, friends, and colleagues. For more information on what was discussed on this podcast, please reach out to your ADCB relationship manager. You can also log on to our website at www.adcbam.com for more information. My name is Kishore Muktinutalapati, and I'll be back next week with more global investment insights.